Hello, hello. Make sure everything's working. And I think we're good. Yeah, sorry for starting late today. I was playing some Magic Arena, and usually I'll just like concede the game, you know, it's whatever. But the guy I was playing against, God man, saltiest dude on the fucking planet. He was just like spamming emotes like the whole match, and like I totally had a winning position and my hand just had all removal. So like I was not gonna let him just like rope me and then just spam emotes and then I concede. I had to stay and just totally destroy him. And then when I was like going to actually win, I just put a little good game emote and then killed him. And it just felt so amazing. My piece of shit. Might be. That's okay. I felt great. Anyways, back to game development. Did a bunch of work off stream last night about basically working on how projectiles are going to work for the channeled abilities, and just did some like debugging stuff. We're getting closer and closer to a playtest build with the new combat. The goal is to have like partial like map playtest tonight with me and my friends. We're gonna see how that goes. I just gotta get this into a workable position. So we'll see. This is compiling. I'm going to bring up the list for today. What we got to do. Oh yeah. So the druid's auto attack is probably going to be something a little different, where the auto attack, I'm going to test this out and see how it works, but I think I want the auto attack for the druid to actually go through players, so it can hit like multiple players, and it will do healing to allies and damage to enemies. We're going to see how that works. It's actually going to be something very similar to how our surge projectile works. I'm actually going to change this. Bit. The thing about the druid ability though is it's not going to expand that much. We actually have to change it, and we're going to make the initial size something small, and it's just going to expand like a little bit, kind of like it starts like tiny and then just grows to be the size it should. So expansion limit is going to be like 1 second, and the rate's going to be, I'll make it 4. As for the size, make this thing pretty small. We're actually going to take Surge and change it to the Soul Salve ability. I was like looking into it last night, and I don't think... Oh, I also fixed auto attacks, by the way, or like the casting animation. Before, the warp effect was actually like right before it disappeared, it would actually go to full like refraction mode and just like have like the worst like effect where it wasn't blending out like it is right here. See how it kind of like blends right into the background? Before, what was happening was the loop duration was actually not set up properly. So it was actually thinking that the loop ended earlier than it did. And when it did that, it basically would just like cut out. It wouldn't blend, it would just like cut out at the last second. So like it would just cut right here. So it looked like it was just like there for a second, then like vanished. And it looked terrible. So I looked into it and found that problem. Anyways. Okay, so we need to put a tag on this. And we're going to give it this tag here. And we're going to have our gameplay ability look for that tag as well. Like so. Collision type, don't really care about. So like collision trace type shouldn't really matter too much actually. Now let's go into this and set some parameters here. So we want the mesh to be visible as a projectile. Actually, the spell lifespan of this is going to be a little bit different. These auto attacks are probably just going to be a little bit slower than all the other auto attacks in the game, but it's because it kind of has like a double feature. We don't want it to stop on... We actually do want it to stop on collision. But... here's the thing. We actually want to specify the type of collision that we want it to stop on. So we have to make a specifier for this. Let's go in and do that. Oh, another thing I worked on last night is the fireball spell and how it like absorbs like abilities that are not active when they're thrown into it. And I got that working pretty well. I just have to have it dictate whether the spell that's thrown into it is from an enemy or an ally, which is obviously a pretty big part of this. Let's see here. Need to know the type of collision. Excuse me. So we can make a parameter for that. Possibly like set like an enum type, because this like a collision response here is an enum. You might be able to fill it in. Or we can look for like an object type. Huh. A lot of possibilities. But it basically would be in here where we would actually set this parameter. So we know at this point that our actor is valid, so we're totally safe to call this. I believe we can call get object type, or what is it, get collision? Oh no, it would be from the component that we have to grab it. So do we want to grab root component? We can get the root component, make sure that that's valid. It should be, because otherwise the actor shouldn't exist in the world. But layers of abstraction, which I actually have not tested. I mean, like, an actor should have a root component. But man, it just feels uncomfortable not checking for a valid root component. So for the root component, we want to see what the object's collision is. So here we should be able to get the collision object type. And if that is equal to make another spell functionality here, which I'm actually going to move these above this B homing section, because this expansion scale axis thing, actually I need to move it above this. I'd rather have like these parameters be near the other mesh parameters. I want to keep everything as organized as I possibly can. So expansion will stay in its own kind of realm here. Then for the collision parameter, do this. Actually, e-collision channel. What do I want to name this? Probably call it like stop on collision channel. Something like that. We actually might be able to move this outside of our begin overlap function. I think we might be able to move this into our apply overlap event. We can check it in there. The reason being is I'd rather keep that type of function or that parameter only in the projectile child class. So if we like did like an override for this in the child class, and then we checked for it there, and then called the super version of this, which is all this code here. That might be a better way to do it. Also, don't know why all this is set as base projectile. We're actually in the base spell class. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, actually we could even do it here. Fuck, I didn't think about that. The cool thing about super is like this doesn't have to be called first. So if you need to check for like things before, like you call the super version of the code, which is the parent class version. Super basically is the same thing as just like copying and pasting all this code where this is right here. That's all super is. So yeah, we can actually check for those parameters. Oh wait, I was in the apply overlap event. But like if I went into the begin overlap, if I just copied and pasted all this to this part right here, it's basically the same thing. Damn. I was actually going to see if I could just undo that one part of the code that I changed. Fine. The one problem here though is we're not checking for other actor. We could check for... No. We'll just check it here. Oh, shit. It's gonna bother me so much that we're doing like a double evaluation. I'd much rather just override or apply overlap event and check it there instead. Yeah, we'll just do an override of this. Did I make this virtual? When you set something virtual, you're basically letting the child classes make their own version of this with an override. So if I just copied this here, went down to my section of code here, and then put override on the end of this. Control period. Construct a default function. Then we can call super apply overlap event. Like so. Now, when you override a class, you don't actually have to call super. I could make an entirely new function out of this, which this gives a lot of room for making really unique functionality for child classes of objects that you want to create. I've used this method a lot with the old spell system, which is why I had so many different classes, but with the workflow that I currently had back then, it was just getting really overwhelming to jump through, 5 different classes that were unique for like individual spells, and I wanted to kind of like make everything centered. And if I truly needed to make a new class or something, then I would. Alright, so here we know that other actor is going to be valid because it passed through our begin overlap, which checks for a null pointer. Now we're going to check for the root component here, if that's valid, which it always should be. You're going to get the collision type. And then here, we're actually going to grab that parameter that we just made, this U property. We're going to bring this guy down to our class here. Make a comment on where this is being used. So in apply overlap event, in apply overlap event, this is used to stop. Actually, what we should say is used to deactivate. I created this new mechanic called Absorb, which is going to be used for spells that either hit like other spells and collide, or they hit like the ground or like walls or anything that they shouldn't, if they're projectile based. And what it will do is it will basically cause like a specific type of like sound effect and visual effect, just to let the player know that they hit something with their projectile that caused it to be destroyed. It's like a super in alpha like feature, because there's so many like instances where you would not want the absorb to actually go off. So we're testing it out and seeing how it's going to work. I usually make my functions like super literal in name, which, to be fair, like they can get really long, but whenever I read a function, it's more beneficial for me to understand what it's doing, just from its naming convention and not by going into the code. Which is why like a lot of developers will keep their code for at least game development super short in what it does, and usually have functions that only handle like one thing, but then you'll have like these like more like main functions that are a combination of like multiple different parts like that. Just ends up with or you just end up with like cleaner code at the end. There's a very great refactoring guide that I did a long time ago, and for the most part I tried to keep to it, but there's some things where I'm just like, I just need this like this one last if statement in here, or I need this one last like switch with Xenum, or like some like random piece of code that I need to put in, and like I'll never touch it again. But in those instances, like you could easily just like highlight it and then right click and hit like extract and refactor and like create like a name for it, and it will just like autofill it in there for you to clean up your code. There's a lot of stuff in my character class that I got to do with that. Alright, so when we go to apply our overlap event, there's a certain channel that we want to stop on. So we're going to detect if we hit the ground or probably world dynamic as well. So this is where it gets kind of weird. What we could do is make... Man, I was thinking like maybe we can make like a T array that it looks into. So if the current object type of the thing that we hit is located inside this T array, we would call this part here. The T array would only be like a couple, like it would only have like a couple instances in it, or a couple pointers rather. Maybe references actually. You know what I mean? And it will just like loop through it, check it, and see if it's good to go. So we could actually change this. Holy shit. I understand that should not be that way. That's fine. What I'm gonna do is just make actually probably don't need to do that. We could do dot contains. Now it's possible I need to do a dot contains by predicate, which essentially means like, okay, you have to make a lambda function that specifies what it's looking for exactly, because by default Visual Studio is going to be like, I don't know what you're trying to compare here. But usually you have to do that, or you have to use predicates when you're using like custom structs. So you have to go in and do some like overrides and everything like that. Where are we getting our error here? That's where. Alright, so here, this is where we actually want to call our absorb spell function. We'll change this up as well. Technically, I could do this and turn this all into just like one if statement, or I could make this all into just like one function. But that should be okay. I think contains already checks to see if we have enough data. Yeah, it's using a specific for loop that basically will check that for us. Make sure that there's something actually valid in there. Okay. There's another thing that I could do to make this a little bit better for performance. Where, like, see how it says like stop on collision? I made this specifically for so like when you shoot a spell, there's two forms to it, right? There's a projectile form of the spell, which is usually like kind of like a spark that's like flying through the air till it like hits the ground and actually like activates the spell. And then we have like projectile spells that are active right out of the gate. And what the difference between them is this. I'll actually show you. So this would be something that is a projectile. It only activates its effect once it reaches the location, right? Or one that's active right out of the gate is something like this. The projectile doesn't need to hit something in order for it to actually start its activate spell process. It activates its spell immediately, and anything that's caught in its path gets hit by it. Another example is this right here, like our supernova spell. Okay, it didn't spawn. I'll check that out. But this one here, basically anything that's like a giant like AoE, right, is going to use this effect. But when it hits something, we would want the effect to stop. I don't know if I have it set to stop on that one, but I'd be able to change it quickly. See how this one's like a little spark? It's because I changed the parameters last night for the absorb effect. Almost guarantee it. Hey, how are you doing? This is what I get for trying to add new features. I'm pretty sure it's just because some of these effects don't have the Boolean ticked in their spell blueprint. See here in a second. I'm fine, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. It's a Saturday. We're listening to some super chill music. Just going over some bugs and fixing some problems. All in all, a pretty good day. I wonder if this is actually where it's coming from. Yeah, I typically will just go over my thought process and the stages of programming that I do on stream. And I'll try to explain everything that I'm doing while it's happening. We did just change, what was it, Pyre? The effect is happening, but it's not actually showing. Oh, possibly this right here. Remove static mesh on impact. Yeah, so I added a couple more parameters. No, that's not it. Huh, something is actually eating my my spell mesh. Hello, dear. Hello, how are you? I'm doing just fabulous. It's a nice Saturday. We're vibing out, making some cool shit in C++. Can't ask for anything more. Well, besides the bugs, but we're getting there. Alright. Well, we gotta recompile anyway, so cut this down in just a second. Check it out. The step on collision. It's actually kind of deceiving now with the way that we're doing this. So I might remove and or change it. Yeah, because I guess it's kind of like repetitive to what we're checking for. So I'm not going to permanently remove it, but I will do that. Just realized my camera's like super pointed up. My posture's not too great either. All right. Let's see what we got here. We're gonna be mainly focusing on this one ability that we're trying to create, this soul salve ability. This is kind of the word I'm looking for, catalyst towards the new style of collision checks for our spells. Here we go. Yeah, so now you can't actually see because my fat head's in the way. Now we have this list here to where we can list what type of objects we want our spell to actually stop on and which ones do we want it to avoid. So world static for sure, world dynamic, and for this spell ground are the three ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't believe there's another one. We want to remove the static mesh on impact for now. Probably going to change the wording on that too. The naming convention is kind of morphing a bit to be more specific as we move along and recreating this system. Should also change the ability on my map. Let's go to our data table and change our auto attack to the new one here. Oh, I have it called Spirit Stream. Let's change that. I'm going to set that there. Actually a way better name than whatever the fuck I just put in. Go in. Already taken it. Yeah, by this one here. Just in case there's a problem. Then in our spells, change this guy to the name that we just put in there. Bam. Then we go to our druid, go to our data table. Then the new spirit stream. And that should be all she wrote. Or all she wrote, yeah. So our auto attack, you can see it there. If we just tap the R key. And doesn't even spawn. We activate the spell, enable the collision, we apply the initial overlap event to actors in the area that it spawns in. Okay, all is well. Just not visible, which means a parameter in here probably off. What would that be? You don't want to hide these spell mesh. It is not a homing spell either. I'm going to change the velocity down just a little bit here. I believe I possibly broke something messing with this last night. I can't help it. I was feeling extra productive. Okay. Yep. I mean, so it's going through, it's like it's alive. The only reason I know it's alive is because we have complete expand call, which usually signifies that it went through its expansion cycle, because the spell grows as it's moving. Maybe... Let me check something. I'm going to set the expansion limit to 6. So in a couple seconds here, we should get our complete expand. Yeah, so the actor is still alive. The mesh, though, is not becoming visible on impact, or on activation, rather. It must be because I have this here. What is this? And why did I make this? But the projectile needs to be visible before it makes impact. Oh, so this is for... Yeah, okay. I got it. But this should only be... This should only be a variable inside the projectiles itself. It should not be one here. So we're going to move this down to our begin play here. We're also going to move that parameter out of this as well. The remove static mesh on impact is probably also going to get removed out of here as well. What it does is it just makes the actual like spell mesh of the ability go hidden on impact. Hey, what's up? closed out and recompiled it. Just making sure I'm not like hiding the mesh or anything. Alright, let's compile. I wonder how many more abilities we have to create. We're going to be replacing a couple different things that are going to be moved into passive abilities that we're going to make. I think we only have five more abilities to actually make, and then we'll have, that should be 30 abilities in the game currently. 32 technically, because 2 of them are experimental and definitely not balanced for playtest. Alright. The effect goes off, all that shit. Let me go into the blueprint and check that parameter. So mesh is visible as projectile. Mark that as true. Oh, it actually has a cooldown set to it. Let's change that as well. So auto attacks have a GCD cooldown, which all abilities have, and it's a 0.5 second delay between casts. So you can't just cast like 10 abilities in a second with like a script or something. We have base cost here. Then I believe I have it called ECD. Might be called something else. Where's my druid abilities? Huh, interesting. Oh, here it is, GE global cooldown. Let me just make sure that this is the correct version of that global cooldown that we're using. So I'm going to go check the auto attack of our Pyro class. Here it is. Here's Scorch. Yeah, global cooldown. Okay. That is all updated. So right off the bat, you can see something's kind of off here. And it's just where the ability is actually spawning. We can go in and change that as well. Not in the GA. We need to go to the actual spell itself. If we go here to the projectile, to the viewport, this spell mesh is very much off. This ball here, we want to pretty much align with the center, like that. We can also increase the speed of this a little bit too, probably to like 4,500. The expansion of this I have set to 6 seconds still, don't I? Yeah. Okay. I was like, wow, this spell is lasting a very long time. So the goal is to have this spell start out small and then expand up to the size we want, and then it will just continue on. But it looks like it's taking a little bit longer, so we're just going to mess and tweak the values here. You can't see the values because they're probably in the way. But all I'm doing is just lowering the time it takes for it to happen. Something else that we'll probably gut in the future is this mana system, which is pretty old. Uses a attribute called attunement, which is something that we are going to get rid of more than likely, or replace it with something else. The game currently has, like, you know, you have like primary stats, secondary, everything like that, and your primary stats will typically affect 2 secondary stats on the character. So like the vigor stat will affect like health and like damage resistance. And then like you have dexterity, for instance, which is like casting speed and critical strike chance, stuff like that. So there's like layers upon layers of stuff that attributes actually deal with in the background. And attunement was essentially like how many mana pips you had, because we were using a pip based system, not like a, oh, you have like 100 mana, each ability costs like 10. And then the regen rate of each pip, which made a lot of sense in the older combat system, but not with the radial wheel. Okay. I think the only thing I wanted to tweak on this was the size, just a little bit, because I think it might be a little bit too big. Because this still technically is like an auto attack, right? Honestly, even down to like 0.5. That's not too bad. I gotta be better with moving my screen when we mess with variables. One thing that I haven't been able to get is, so we have our casting animation, right? I really want the whole system when we cast to follow the character's velocity, because when we're standing still and auto attacking, you can clearly see it. But if we're running, the system actually falls behind the character. So I was looking into different ways of when the system actually detaches from our character, because it's hooked to the character's wrist until like he fully extends. At the moment of extension, I was looking into having the whole Niagara system get like an additive velocity onto it in the forward direction of our character. But like everything I did was not working quite right, and I think it's how Niagara handles particle updates with velocity. It doesn't do additive, it does a multiplier, or like a scaled value, which is much harder to calculate for. So looking into a reliable way of doing that, but that's been all off stream. Okay. Look at our data table and see what other abilities we need to create here for the druid. There's actually one that we had to replace, and then there's one that's just filled with a test ability. So our, oh yeah, bird form is probably going to get removed. Turns out flying is really fucking overpowered. It was really cool to use this on large-scale PvP maps, but quickly during playtests people found out about basically you could just like permanently be in the air. So you would just go bird form, and then you'd be able to cast abilities and kind of just like rain down like fire onto other players, and then go back into bird form, and then just kind of like alley-oop back up to like a high velocity or a high like altitude, and then as you're falling you're casting as well, and then before you hit the ground you just transform and keep going. It was terrible. So needs to get gutted. Hit enter. It's getting replaced. Soul salve not available. This was a test ability, which is why I have a test projectile in its slot right now. So this is also not replaced. We just need to actually make the real ability for it. Clarity is a replacement though. This was a buff. A like self-casted buff that we gave. What I'm probably going to turn this into is probably either an AoE buff or Yeah, probably an AoE buff, honestly, via projectile. I don't think I'll make it single target. Let's actually create that. So, go to our druid, go to clarity here. Let's reparent this class. Yeah, you can see it's a hit scan ability, which all hit scan abilities are going to be gone by the end of this month, more than likely. Trying to balance out like projectile based spells with like hit scan is almost impossible. It is incredibly difficult to make that balanced. We're going to change this over to a spawn actor gameplay ability. We do not care about a target spell range. Please show result. I could show you some of the gameplay real quick. Right now we're just like redesigning abilities and stuff. But the next playtest is going to have this map. This is one of the arena maps in the game, so if I were to spawn in here, so it's a round-based system. Every round you gain 2 levels. If you hold down shift, you're able to like select either Q, E, or R to put your like rank into, and each rank gains access to 3 additional abilities within that skill tree. So you have in total 30 different abilities that are on your character. This whole map has like an event that goes on in the middle, which is there's essentially a giant like ravine in the center of the map, and the only way to get to the other side of it is by destroying these crystals to knock over the bridge. Sound never fails to make me laugh, but there's a giant like blizzard that essentially blows through the middle of the map, and if you're on one of the bridges when that happens, it'll blow you off and kill you. Right now I just have it set on the debug stage, which is the rounds only last like 20 seconds, so I can test out like map resets, all the events and everything. So like my character dies within about 10 to 15 seconds after the round expires from a decay debuff that gets placed on all the characters. So that's one of the PvP maps. This is the one that's going to be tested next. We just made this one over the course of the last like 20 something days or something like that. The one before this was a lot simpler. It didn't have any like events or anything happening in it. It was just a simple arena map. Teams spawn in on these sides, doors open when round starts, all that good stuff. We have a PvE map in development, which is this one here. But this will involve like the gear system and everything, which is like in super early stages of development. Like we have it set up to where like characters can have stuff equipped and everything, but designing like a loot system is incredibly tedious. I actually don't even know if I opened this up on 5.4 yet. Which is why it's taken a minute to actually open up. Yeah, I haven't. You can see because it's default texturing. And now it's going to load in the particles and materials that are used currently. But the scale of this map is actually ginormous, but you can't really tell. We have some of our like little AI spawn camps down here. So we set these discs on the ground and we basically map them and label them as with like a spawn ID or a spawn camp ID. Which that all works, and like you get XP from killing things and you gain like levels and more damage and all that stuff, so all that shit works just fine. But it's trying to fill this map up, which would just take like an enormous amount of time. And then last but not least, we have our lobby map. With our big light fixture that gets hidden during gameplay. Yeah, so this is basically where, right here's where you set like talents, or like your class trees, and like your passives. This is where you select the map and you assign teams. Right here is just like a test bench for our attribute system, which is still yet to be turned over to our new like 3D UI system. But yeah, that's pretty much it so far. It's only been about half a year or so in development, so we're still testing out a lot of stuff, and I've redesigned a lot of things in the past 90 days. One of them being combat. That concludes our tour. Right now what I'm going to do is create a new ability. Well, I guess like transfer this ability over to something else. This is going to be a projectile-based ability. Excuse me. This actually will have... I just need to put like a demo curve in here. And then this is the effect that we would want to apply. Alright. Now for the ability that we want to spawn in, I'm actually just going to use probably this. We're just going to change it. A lot of the effects we actually don't have to really touch, besides this one here. Does it expand? Yes. Yeah, I mean, pretty much all this just stays the same. Ooh, spell life 60 seconds. Yeah, that is not what we want. We're like 5. Alright, if we test this out, clarity should be something instead of a single target ability, it now should be a projectile that we can throw onto the ground. Oh, I didn't actually set the projectile here. Oops. We want to apply this to allies, not enemies. It's not a channeled ability. It is a projectile. Yeah, so all of this is using the gameplay ability system. This is just a modified version of it that I'm using right now. Actually, what is preventing me from casting? Ah, direct targeting spell. So this can happen when reparenting a class. It's possible that it actually was not able to successfully reparent this. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, we want the mesh to be visible as a projectile. Actually, nope, I'm just dumb. Never set the Niagara system. Or no, I did. Oh, why is that not spawning a trail effect then? See something. So it should be spawning a trail effect. Like so. All of those are set. Sorry, I'm just taking a look here, see why this actually is not spawning the trail effect. The only reason this is kind of strange is because the properties of this are mirrored to that of the other spell. Minus only like a couple of things with the gameplay ability. Oh, god damn it. It's not set to actually cast the correct ability. That would make sense. Oh, but that's actually not a cast param. So see how this has the actual tag ability .cast, and then that other one did not, which means that there's no cast ability set for clarity, it looks like. So I'll just add a subtag for it then. And in here, we'll add that in. So this right here, our gameplay ability basically calls this montage to happen. And when it reaches this point right there, it will actually use this tag inside our gameplay ability itself. When it finds that this tag is called within this montage, it will actually spawn in the ability. Now that we have it actually set, it should actually spawn in now. Yeah, like that. Another problem is the projectile itself actually being hidden on impact. Which is probably from our absorb effect that we added in last night, or that I did. I actually could just easily do this. Should be okay to live code this as long as I didn't touch any U properties. Should be fine. So the spell that we're making right now is basically a buff effect that when we throw it onto the ground, or wherever it lands, it will expand and give a damage increase buff to all allies within a certain circle. Yeah, there we go. Hey, how's it going, friend? Oh wait, show debug. Ability system. I will someday make my country. I believe in you, my friend. There we go. Clarity passive. Oh, actually, the clarity passive is a crit multiplier. Is that what that was saying? It shouldn't be. Oh. Should be damage. I'm gonna pause here. I mean, we can just as easily look into the gameplay effect and see what it should be doing. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name for you, because I'll butcher it. Oh no, it's an additive for crit multiplier. You could probably turn this into like an additive damage buff instead. But we'll just leave it as a crit multiplier for now. I'm not going to try and say it. Just telling you that right now. My American tongue can barely speak English, let alone try to pronounce foreign country names. Alright, so we have that complete. What's the last ability on our druid's data table? Well, two more actually. Soul Salve in bird form, it looks like. Clarity's gonna stay. I actually want to see where you got that name from. Oh, it's actually a town already. Just say coat, but make the OA sound shorter. Huh. How do you even do that? Coat? What is that, Vesa? Alright, so bird form, gone, soul salve. It's just our test ability. I'll probably make soul salve a direct target projectile. Test out the new system that way. Shift bird, wolf. Stream old. Get rid of that for now. There's actually like a lot of test gameplay effects that I made before in the past that just don't really have like any place anymore. As like a filler, I'll just add in lightning bolt damage to this. We'll change it later. I'm not too concerned about gameplay effects because those are like, I know they work. I know how to change them. I'm more concerned right now with actually creating functional abilities. We'll change this over as well. Code Vasa? Is that what you're trying to say? Definitely not. Oh, that's what Demon named his town. Code Vasa. See, I hesitate to say that kind of shit, right? Because like I've had people in the past come in and try to get me to say some like racist shit on stream with foreign languages. And I am not trying to have that happen. Say it before. We actually want the this is going to be like a healing effect, but I think I want to make it a single target healing effect, not like an AoE one. So this is something where we would want this to die on impact. We want the mesh visible as a projectile as well. We don't care about zero rotation or any type of like offset. We don't want it to absorb any other projectiles. But we do want to mark this as a homing spell. We do not want this to expand either. Spell lifespan. I put it to 6 seconds. Pronounce the A like at the dentist, and then saw, but then wait, and then saw, but also like at the dentist. The A like, I don't know. Marcus doesn't make music, so he also like has all his music copyrighted, so every time I try to play it on stream I get copyright striked into the turf. So here's that. Kodavasa. That's all you're gonna get from me. So you're saying like ah, like that? I did it. Oh, there you go. That's all you're getting from me, though. Actually, I'd make this like relatively small hitbox. It might be too big, actually. I'm gonna stick with this. Alright, so this needs a couple different things to function correctly. One, you need to have it spawn this projectile. Two, you actually need to have it use this gameplay tag. Alright, so we create that tag. We put the matching tag here so it knows when to call this old one out of here. I'll say it in Discord, so you just need to clarify the A's like I said it in Discord. Oh, I can't do it. My monotone voice, not at the capacity. We need to be able to target allies with this. And we are going to use the visibility channel to target allies. The range of this ability. 0 makes it unlimited, I'm pretty sure. I think that is all set up correctly. Soul Salve is not something that can hit enemies. So if we're doing targeted allies, we actually need to increase the number of players. Oh, it may be, but it's monotone as hell. I didn't set it in the goddamn thing, did I? There we go, Soul Salve. It's marked as a projectile. That is a big no-no. Blueprints. Druid is not a projectile. I mean, technically it is, but it doesn't have like a direct target like that. Yeah, but is it deeper than Venus's core? It took me a second to actually think about that. Yeah, so oh shit. Yeah, it auto assigns teams. Hold on. Let me increase it to 3 so I can get a teammate. I'm just spawning in clients, so I have a couple different client portals. Okay. Should be able to identify teammates based on ID. Interesting. Oh, we found another bug. Oh, wait, no, it might be the thing with the range, actually. Hold on. It's possible I didn't set 0 as a unlimited range, which is kind of, assuming. Yeah, that's what it was. We're getting there. For projectile movement, we want to get rid of gravity for this more than likely. Deeper than the center of the universe. Pretty deep, I don't know about that. Alright, so we can see it's highlighted. We can see it's just flying away without a care in the world. I wonder... I'm gonna try something here. So we have another ability that is working with this homing feature, right? I'm just going to compare what is allowing the first ability to work compared to the one that we just created now. Maybe it was in the other tree. I don't remember which one it was. Yep, we just made it yesterday too. Some days my memory really fails me. This is one of those days. That's crazy that I can't remember what we, which ability we made it yesterday. Excuse me. I swear it was something within the Druid tree, but it might be Tempest. Damn it. whichever one has a direct targeting type actually enabled is going to be the one where that has like that homing feature. Damn. Which one was it? It would be really funny if I actually changed it back. Oh no, it's this one. Shit. Okay, hold on. Gotta go to the data table. It's the one we just actually moved out. We'll just change it here. Deeper than his speech from a 1,000-year-old man. I don't know about that. It's pretty deep. Yeah, so this one is able to just like... I mean, it's just like broken. It flies right to it. I want to see what's different between this and the other one that we made. Was the cast... Oh, casting style. Fuck. As soon as I saw that, yeah. I don't have it set to direct target, do I? There's the problem. This is why I want to clean this up. Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Is there actually lore for that? Okay, so this should highlight allies, not enemies. Highlighting enemies. I will say the good news is, though, that it is able to lock on. It just doesn't really have like an effect yet. That's why it's not like showing anything. It's also like slamming into the ground. That's kind of like what I want, though, to be honest with you, because I don't want it to be like lock on and it's guaranteed to hit. Like, I still want the player to aim it, or be able to like aim it in like a certain direction, right? I don't want it to be like an automatic thing where, okay, they just have to highlight over and then it does its thing. I just want it to be like a very small amount of like aim assist almost. Deeper than Dune. Oh God. Speaking of which, I can't wait for that shit to come out on HBO Max. Yeah, so the homing might be a little bit crazy. Tone that down. I honestly, though, super impressed with the homing feature. I really like it. It's a pretty good replacement for direct target abilities. So when I make like affliction classes, which I fucking love damage over time classes, and just like spreading just like dots to like multiple targets, it's like I'm gonna use so many of those type of abilities. Obviously not like guaranteed like aimbot style projectiles, but like kind of like aim assisted ones that are single target. I don't think I'll ever use that for like AoE skills, but single target abilities I will add a very slight like homing feature too. Okay, so we got one more druid ability to replace today, I believe. That's the bird form one. Which, I mean, there's a lot of avenues we can take with a type of ability that we want to create here. I mean, shit, we can have a projectile land and spawn like a wall if we wanted it to. Or like a shield or something like that. But we're going to be replacing pretty much like an ultimate ability, so we'd have to make something that's like really good. So it's not as easy as like replacing like an auto attack or something like that, so I might hold off on that guy. But we can replace some pyromancy abilities. We have a couple of those. We just did one yesterday, which is the firewall. And then we just have, honestly, eruption, which I already have an idea for this one. Gotta change it from hit scan again, because that shit's gonna be gone. I'm actually gonna make something where eruption is like an AoE buff that a pyromancy or a pyromancer gives to multiple players on their team. That just increases their crit, or not crit damage, their crit chance for X amount of seconds, depending on their gear and all the other statistics that go into the back end of this. But yeah, the class defaults here. Abilities. This is actually going to be a very similar replication to the savagery ability within our druid class. Did not mean to spawn this one, I meant to spawn a spell. Here we go. We're going to get this guy and move it on over to our pyromancy class. And in here, I'm going to make a couple small changes. We actually don't need model material, but I'll set it anyways. Okay, eruption, we want to spawn EP eruption base. Does not apply to enemies, only allies. Target spell radius does not matter as much. Base effect curve. I just need a light, or just a fill-in curve for this. But it's going to apply this passive effect. See that we're using a bunch of random tags and some of these abilities that were not set previously. I'm going to change that. Okay. We got that. Go into eruption. All set there. Anything that I'm missing at the top of my head? Yes. Is not a direct target. You can think of, I used hand as the tag, but like it meant like the ability spawns like directly at the player's hand. What that was meant to represent. I will probably change that later on my to-do list. Okay. Show debug ability system, right? Let's see, crit chance. That's funny. So crit chance actually went down to, was it 0%? It's an override, set by color magnitude, supportability. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say there's no support anymore. This actually would fall under the same category as Clarity's passive application, which is also using support, which is not invalid. Fuck. Okay. Forgot those that we removed those. It's been a while since we messed with passive tags. I must have made a replacement for them at some point, or I was thinking about replacing them and just did not do so yet. Oh no, right here, ability type. Support or damage. But isn't that what we just had? I'm actually going to take these back out. I don't know why exactly they got removed. I know why these ones got removed, but these two... Gotta be more specific. Alright, let's compile. The overarching goal by tomorrow is to have like the 3 kits for the classes pretty much complete, with all the new combat system features that we added. Let me check my ability execution calculator, which is something that I have not looked at in a very long time. But this handles all damage application, and it does the calculation for like critical damage and how much damage a player should take after resistances and all that shit. Trying to find it. Oh, here we go. It's in effects. Not here. Oh, it might be something that's added in pre calculation, which if that's the case, it actually should be in our ability system component. Invoker. Gotta be this one. Ability combat damage. Huh. Did I just not create the features for attribute modifiers yet? Or did I remove them? I mean, another way to do it, right, is for the gameplay effects not to use set by color magnitude, which kind of sucks because these are supposed to be like scalable things, right? Based off of like gear and equipment. But I mean, since we're not using gear and equipment right now, maybe we can just get away with having it just be a flat rate. That would leave such a bad taste in my mouth. I'm gonna check one more place. In our attribute set. Not this one. This is like post like damage and all that. I don't care about that. Yeah, it doesn't look like we actually made a set by color magnitude for modifying any of those attribute types. Alright, so what I'll do now I'll just get these set up to have that actually happen. And then I'll go in and actually make that change and get that working. But I know before I definitely had it working. I don't know. The shitty part about my memory is don't know if I had it working with the like default like original like gas setup version of it, or if I made like a set by color magnitude function that used like the gameplay tags and like I deleted it, which would be crazy if I deleted it, but I've done like weirder things, like randomly put shit in like drawers that I'll never look in again in my life, and then when I need the thing, like where the fuck did I put it? So maybe I'm just crazy. Anyways, all of our other abilities pretty much work. Combustion we can make one for. If you ever played WoW, it pretty much works similar to the way combustion works in WoW. It looks at the amount of stacks of burn effects that you have on a target, and it will basically consume them and deal the max amount of stack damage in an instant. And the whole idea behind the pyromancy class was to do that stacking effect, and then you just like pop like your cooldowns, like your damage effects, and you just like throw combustion down and just like explode the target. Where's your Star Wars hat at? Happy Star Wars Day. Johnny, are you going to be wearing a Star Wars bandana on your stream tonight? I don't even know why I'm asking that question. You definitely will be. Alright, so combustion has to get changed over too. It's using the old direct targeting system. Oh, actually, it uses its own type of gameplay ability. I forgot about this. So that kind of effect where you read the like burn stacks on a target and then do damage wasn't like any other type of effect that I made before. So I made its own type of gameplay ability, and this was really early on, but it's got to be changed to projectile. So we're just going to have the projectile handle that logic for us, and we'll probably just make a child class of the projectile to do that for us. You're cosplaying as Chewbacca? You're basically just going to stream naked then, is what you're telling me. Yeah, we have to make a child class of projectile. Which, gotta do what you gotta do. I am not removing combustion. This ability was like so much fun in playtest. So it must carry on. There is... okay, ability spells. Don't give me that emoji, dude. Know what you're doing. All right. so wait, we actually... Okay, so let's bring up the way that this works, right? We are basically hovering onto the target, and since it's a hit scan event, right? We're just like grabbing their data like immediately at that split second to do this effect. And in that split second, we are seeing how many stacks they have, and then we're modifying the amount of damage that our ability is doing. This is going to work totally different on a projectile because we're not going to have that data until we reach the target. So the server is going to have to create a gameplay effect upon impact, or what it will do is it'll take a pre-existing gameplay effect and modify it on impact with the damage modifiers, or the set color by magnitude functions. Sorry. I have the code here for it. I just need to take this and tweak it. Our apply overlap event will probably work slightly different. That's probably what we're going to override. Let's get rid of all this stuff up here. We don't really need it. We're going to go here and get to work. First, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go into our protected section and call our override here. Now, we're going to take a look at what our apply overlap event is doing here. That's fine. What is the super version of this actually doing? Okay, it's checking for a lot of parameters that we're probably not going to need. So in this case, we probably will not call the super version of our apply overlap event. This is where like making very specific child classes be a good thing. And you keep like a bunch of like generic functions and parameters or variables on the parent class to use. Apply overlap. You would want some things from our parent class. Not a lot of them. Like, we wouldn't want to call this function twice, right? We actually want this to be consumed upon impact. So down here we can probably do like a destroy. We do want to grab, actually, get rid of that for now. We do want to grab the ability system component of the actor that we hit, because we're going to need that in order to complete the functions. I'm surprised that the invoker ability system component is not showing a flag. Okay. I was about to say, we don't have it included. But let's go ahead and include that. So this is where we're going to grab like the stacks and everything. We actually can grab this function here, which this basically just gets the attribute data of the character that we're hitting. Okay, once we have that, what are we doing here, eh? Already checking there. I'm actually just going to copy the rest of this over. We're going to kind of like pick at it and see what we need and what we don't. We'll just modify it to our current needs. Excuse me. Stacking effects count. Where are you used? So we're going to shift F12. We're going to pull up all the locations that this is currently being called. Oh, stacking effect to count is a gameplay effect, actually. Alright. Okay. We'll set that on here as well. We have to make sure that this is valid, which I think that's what we are doing here. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And then we're using something called create detonate gameplay effects back, which we can actually bring over. We don't need to mess with this, because this is for hit result data. Do we need that? No, not really, because we're not doing hit scan. This is just a projectile. So this can be tossed away. This create detonate gameplay effect, we actually can just bring over from here. It's actually something I created for that class specifically, and since we're getting rid of it, might as well just move it. But this is where the problem lies, right? Set ability that this is tied to. We should actually create this beforehand. And then just modify it afterwards. So we might not need to actually create this this handle here. We will use this stacking effect count though. Yeah, that's what we need. Get to modify the data within here though. So we can probably create a different version here. We already have the context, so all this stuff can pretty much go away. Oh yeah, so ability damage data is something that comes with the ability itself. But I think we actually copy that over to our base spell. No, might be just on the ability. Alright. Now this is interesting. Another way to do this is we can actually grab the current damage amount from the gameplay effect, and then use that amount and times it by the stack count. I think that might work a little bit better. It's gonna keep throwing me errors until I create this, so let's shut it up. Fucking focus. Is this a pointer to data? The shared pointer. What we want to get. Actually, okay, hold on. We just need to get the set by color magnitude for our damage tag. What we need. That data tag would be this. Born if not found, default value if not found. Okay. We don't need to make an outgoing spec. We're just going to be modifying our current one. Set by color magnitude. I love it. So we're going to take a float here. We're going to grab the base effect, what we'll just call it, right? Let's spell base effect. Make this const. And we are going to actually, we need to check to make sure it's valid first. So if spell base effect is greater than 0, right? Because if we look here, it says that if this returns 0, that means it's not found. So if it's greater than 0, I'm going to go in and modify it. That just as a test, what we can do is we can actually print this out. So I'd like to see what this comes up with, probably before and after the fact, right? So we'll print out the amount before we set it, and then after we set it, we'll print it out. So we have like an exact idea of what we're doing when we're doing this modification, and then we can tweak the values based on that. So we could just call this after. If I know. Then beforehand, we will also print this out. We're going to be printing this one out. Will be before. So we can get rid of pretty much all of this stuff. We don't need it. Character attributes, did we even use this? Nope. Don't need that either. Don't even need to return anything, since this is a member variable. We're just modifying it directly. Not want to open that up either. Make a mental note to myself here. I call it damage gameplay effect. Get rid of that too. Technically not creating. We're actually not applying either. Hold on a second. We're modifying. I don't think yeah, we're not even using the ACS anymore since we're not creating like a gameplay effect or anything. All we need is the stack count. It's here. Okay, I think all is well. We might not need destroy here. I'm actually going to put a comment down. After executing. Do we even need the enemy attributes? Yeah. Looks pretty good. I think combustion should work now. Hey Alex, how you doing? You probably sent that message a while ago, but I've just been so honed in on making this stuff work. Alright, let's make a blueprint for this now. Go into our pyromancy tree. There's nothing we can base this off of since we just made a new class. This is impact. So spell impact. Rune, and then spell trailing. Set the color. Don't care about all that right now. Stop on collision. Want the mesh to be visible as a projectile. Want it to be active. Don't need it to expand. We don't need any type of offset or rotation. Oh yeah, stack effect account. What did I name it? Burn or Scorch or something? Yeah. Okay, Scorch effect. The spell mesh we'll just use. I don't know. We'll turn something into a projectile. Use like a sphere. Modify it a bit. Projectile movement. This is important. We do want this to be homing as well. We do not want it to have gravity if it is homing. And we want the speed of it to be about like 4,500 or so. Actually put 5k. Alright, inside our combustion, we now have to set this. S detonate. Okay, that lines up. Is actually, yeah, is direct target technically. Enemies visibility. Yeah. Just does pure damage. Okay. One thing that I thought of is if the target has 0 stacks, this will actually make this do 0 damage, which I guess like technically makes sense. But I think we should have like a base effect for it. So what I'm gonna do is 1 plus. Knight should actually apply. Oh, wait, that's a teammate. Okay, one more time. So, applies that. Highlight for combustion. Oh, and it said it as a homing spell, did I? Oh, it is. Something not quite right. Let me check and see what the other ability is. Oh, actually, you go to the GA. Direct target, direct target. Okay. All is well. We go here. Yeah, that all should be good. Enabled, all that stuff. Yep. Don't care about that. Oh, spell lifespan actually should be a bit higher. 5 seconds or more. Gone. I can't imagine this is the reason why. Let's try it though. Yeah, I didn't think so. So it is setting a homing target. The thing is, the homing target actually is valid too. We would get a null pointer if it wasn't. Interesting. Yeah, so we know the target is fine. I'm gonna remove that identifier off. I don't think the tags are having anything to do with it. I think it's just the ability itself. Yeah. So it's some parameter in here that more than likely is messing with us. Oh, wait a minute. Deactivate. That is very possible. Yeah, it was deactivate. There's a bit too much like force with it. Oh, we got a crash. What's up? What do we see? Modify. Okay. Am I looking into something I shouldn't be without checking? Line 34. Oh yeah, you know I am. I didn't check if data was accessible, did I? I actually might be using the wrong getter for the data. We'll see in a second though. Still gonna crash? Ah, okay. Line 24. Interesting. Why is data not valid? The reason I say that's like interesting is because the other projectiles are using the same type of system. I guess we're like actually checking it though before we apply anything. True. We actually should only be applying on the server as well, so we should do a check for that. Yeah, I know why it's crashing. Literally because we weren't checking for those parameters, and I think the clients are trying to use parameters that don't exist when they overlap. So we actually have to make it so clients don't have those on collision events happen and they skip right to destruction. That's how it's got to be handled. Excuse me. It should be working now though. Yeah. There we go. Actor didn't have any stacks on him. But if we throw down like knight and build up some stacks. It just did a 97. I believe is what I saw. Oh no, 53. Stacking effect count 0. Oh, is that because I'm trying to print it with... No, it's in 32. UN 8. What are you saying? Are you rapping? Alright, well, we do have it reading the damage. I did notice a couple things that I gotta clean up, but nothing too bad. But we are almost done all of the ability swaps to the new system now, and making some like new ones. What else do we have in this system here? Wildfire. That also is going to have to be a custom made ability. Or spell, rather. Nothing too bad, though. Druid is almost complete, just need to swap out one there. Tempest is... Tempest only has one. Electrify. But this is actually a new mechanic that has to be created. Yeah. I think I'm gonna call it for today. Feeling pretty hungry. Gonna go get some food, do my thing, and I don't know if I'll be streaming tomorrow at 11:30, but Monday for sure. I'll have a scheduled stream. I'll be doing a bunch of work today and tomorrow. More so like researching. Make sure that we're implementing the next feature correctly, and then yeah, hopefully I can show you guys some cool shit on Monday or tomorrow by stream. We'll see. Yeah, that being said, wherever you are, have a great morning, evening, afternoon, or night, and till next time, peace. Take care, y'all. Udavasa. Hopefully I said that correctly. That's a town that my friend's making. Anyways, see you.